Good morning, we're at Gatwick South Terminal today and we're going to do an EU pub crawl. The plan today is to compare the price of beers in different airports. Our first beers today are at the Flying Horse, making use of the Wetherspoons app to order our early morning beverage. It was predictably busy for the time of day, but representing excellent value at £4.85 per beer, albeit Carlsberg. Currently at Gatwick, we're going to go up to Dublin on Ryanair, fly the Lufthansa A340, then head back to Dublin, fingers crossed if we make the connection time in Frankfurt, and then finish up the day in Stansted. We used the automatic ticket gates to get into the boarding area before seeing the first aircraft we'd be flying on today, a Ryanair 737. Before long we'd boarded and it was time to head out to the runway.
And diving to 32,000 feet today. It's going to take us just over 1 hour to get to Dublin this morning, and the weather on the route is fine as well as Dublin. We'll give an update on the Dublin weather once we get a bit closer. Thanks for flying with us today, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this flight with us.
This flight's just over an hour in length, so we decided against the in-flight beer. There was, of course, though, time for a quick trip to the loo. Only one of the two rear toilets was operable, one having no handle. So whilst I waited here, here's a short video of the galley. Just take a look how every little bit of space is used at the back of this 737. 30 minutes in and it's time to descend into Dublin and land on runway 28.
Thank you and have a beautiful day.
Our connection time in Dublin is around 90 minutes, more than enough time to clear immigration and customs before heading back airside for the second time today. The second beer today, Heineken, priced at €5.90, and just next to the gate for our next flight. We boarded our A340 via the front steps. It's a very impressive size for our flight over to Frankfurt. Don't forget to check out the full video covering off this A340 flight, which is also on this channel. There's a link in the description and in the top right now. We took off on runway 28 before banking to the right and heading back towards the UK. Once in the cruise, the crew brought around a light snack and for today's first in-flight beer, Wursteiner. Snacks and refreshments are complimentary on Lufthansa, so this one is free. The chicken and sauerkraut sandwich, which was fairly small but tasty enough, and the beer, which also went down really well. The economy cabin is in a 242 configuration on this aircraft, with the premium economy where we're sitting in a 232. Let's check out this seat in some more detail. It's 18 inches wide and most have between 38 and 39 inches of legroom. Up top there's a fully adjustable and very comfortable headrest. In this bulkhead seat there's a load of legroom, although the pocket is a little bit far away. There's also a fantastic footrest for when you recline. Seat 10K only has one window, which isn't ideal. Down near your feet you'll find a universal power port, your life jacket, and this hole here is where the TV pops out from. Do please check out the full review of this flight to see more about the in-flight entertainment, the seat, and what the rest of the cabin's like. Unfortunately, before long it was time to start our descent into Frankfurt, before lining up on 7 left and holding a parallel approach with his Lufthansa Cargo MD-11, which was inbound from JFK.
comfortable and safe onward journey. Once again, we say thank you for our guests today. Take care and bye-bye.
Yes, yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. We parked up on a jet bridge gate and after a short wait disembarked through the business cabin through door L1 and onto the jet bridge. Passports were checked on the bridge as we luckily enough arrived at a Schengen gate. Now I've heard horror stories that it can take hours to change terminal and connect at Frankfurt. Today we have just under 2 hours. We've arrived at Terminal 1 Gate B22 and our flight back to Dublin departs from Terminal 2 Gate D4. Taking no chances, we opted to run, rather unflatteringly, through the airport to the inter-terminal shuttle train. Have you taken a connecting flight at Frankfurt before? How did you get on? Let me know down below in the comments. The train whizzed us across the airport with some great views of the airfield, before arriving at this rather jazzy tunnel in Terminal 2. In only 10 minutes from leaving the aircraft, we were in the departure lounge at Terminal 2. I'll be honest, I was in disbelief at how quickly we'd made that transfer. We were lucky enough to arrive at a Schengen gate with a jet bridge, meaning no bus to the terminal and no lengthy passport checks. Bex was our choice here at €5.90, the same price we paid in Dublin. Given the time we now had, there was time for a second and I think maybe a third. In this part of the terminal you go through security at the gate, which opened about an hour before our aircraft departed. Back on board Ryanair, and this time we have an aircraft with the Boeing Sky interior. As the sky darkened over Frankfurt, we lined up short for takeoff on runway 7C. A fair number of passengers on this flight had also flown to Frankfurt with us earlier to experience the A340. In high spirits at making that connection, it's time for another beer, a can of Heineken, and on Ryanair that cost €5 each, easily the beer with the least value today. It's safe to say legroom on here is much tighter than the previous flight. After all that beer, it's time to check out the loo. And I was surprised at how clean it was, given this was the third flight of the day for this aircraft. If you've enjoyed this video, please do check out the rest of the channel. There's loads of videos on there like this. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe us to not miss out on any future uploads. Now, flying over the UK, we continued to chase the sun, only for the night sky to catch up with us, as we started our descent on into Dublin. For the second time today, we landed on runway 28. It was back through the terminal and then ready for our final beers of the day. Of course, it's a Hop House 13 and a pint of Guinness, costing us €5.50 and €6.30 each. And of course, no trip to Dublin is complete without some Tatoes. Before long we were boarding our final flight of the day to London Stansted. And for the fourth time today, hurtling down runway 28. The flight back was uneventful and we both slept for most of it. And there you have it, 4 flights to 3 airports with many beers. What did you think? Did our beers represent value or a rip-off? Personally, I don't think the charges are too steep, but I'd love to hear what your thoughts were in the comments below. That's it for this one, so we'll see you next time.